Good evening, everyone, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there, um, but I'm happy to help in any way I can. On the right of the screen, you'll notice I've put my contact information, and please feel free to contact me anytime. I've been working with students capturing video at NDNU for 10 years now, and run into just about every foreseeable problem that's possible to create during the process. And so I think you guys are going to do fine at this, and I think anything that does come up that we'll have a solution for. I want to talk about a couple of things today. One, first and foremost, capturing video. Let's talk about some best practices in setting up your cameras and making sure that you leave the moment with some usable audio. And then I want to spend a couple minutes looking at how to edit that video so we can get down to those chunks that you need to capture. I believe there's 3 of them when you're working with Caltpa. And then we will look at the Caltpa and adding annotations really quickly. And so I think, like I said, this process is fairly straightforward. Let's go and talk about setting up your camera. So a couple of things that I think are really important. First and foremost, when you bring a camera into the classroom for the first time, it's a little nerve-wracking for you as a teacher, and then it's also the students. Something's going on, and it's a change in daily procedure. So I recommend practicing. Bring it in a couple times, let them get used to it. They'll soon forget about it, and then it becomes not a big deal to do this. Clean audio is really important, so setting the camera in a place that's not near an air conditioner or not near a clock that's giving us a constant tick or something like that. So just be mindful of that. Be mindful of your speaking volume and voice. What we see sometimes is great audio until a teacher goes over to talk to a small group, and then it kind of becomes a more personal volume level with that group, and it drops off the audio. So maintain a clear, crisp speaking voice. If a student is a little mousy when they speak, repeat it. Say, Susie, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. And then repeat that question out loud. That often helps. And then I wouldn't let anyone film this. That it never turns out well, and I would actually try to play with the camera as little as possible. I know some classroom situations require you to move the camera, but if you can avoid it, I would do so. And if you have to minimize the moves, make it a single move, and then it's not something you're worrying about while you're trying to teach simultaneously. I recommend using your phone. We all have the device. They shoot really clean video. They shoot really clean audio, and so that's it. It completely works. And then let me see here. Just one thing to keep in mind when you're shooting with a phone is storage. And so this is from an iPhone, and I got to this screen by going into my settings, going down to camera, and going to the video recording settings. And I'm sure on the Android it's really, really similar process. But if you look, if I'm currently set at 4K at 30 FPS, that is 170 megabytes a minute. So your file is going to be up over 10 gigs for a 55-minute class. That's really, really huge. And there's a problem with scalability. When we take a huge file and try to shrink it down into a small file, we lose a lot of information. So it's better to start with a smaller file and shrink just a little bit than to have a huge file and shrink a lot. So I recommend setting your camera at 720 at 30 FPS. That's absolutely enough resolution and clarity for what we're doing here, and then it solves our scalability problem as well. This will give you, for a 55-minute classroom, you're looking at about 2.5 gigs, so clearing up some space, clearing up some pictures, and making sure you have that amount of space. And then I always recommend, once the video is captured, send it to the cloud, download it to your computer and put it on a thumb drive, save it to your Google Drive, put it in a couple places, because it would be pretty sad if you recorded a brilliant piece of video and then dropped your phone in a lake, or it walked off somewhere. So just keep that in mind. Redundancy is really, really key. And I recommend redundancy in all things. I get a lot of questions, well, can I use my PC and my Android at home or not go to the school lab? The answer is yes, but make sure that you know how to do it. Make sure that you've tried it. Make sure that you've tried it in this specific manner, and that you've gone in and uploaded the video, compressed the video, saved the video, and that whole process works. And then if you've done that practice, then by all means go ahead and do something like that. But always practice and plan and build in redundancies in case something happens. And then, so now that we have our video captured, one other thing, that I recommend is maybe put your phone on Do Not Disturb, so you're not getting kind of funky text sounds that pop up in your video. That can be annoying. And then if you have the ability to plug your phone in, so you don't have to worry about it, that works well also. Okay. So once we come to the editing portion, I'm using iMovie here. I'm going to plug my phone in, okay, and then I'm going to go to this import right here. Okay, let's go ahead and plug my phone in like that, and then you'll notice my phone appears in the file menu here. And then once I do that, I can go over here, and it's going to load all of the video I have right now. So this process can actually take a minute because it's going to create a preview screen right here, and so we might have to come back to that, and we'll look at it in just a second once it's had a chance to load. But I've have some video clips in iMovie already. But essentially, what I'll do is I'll select this like I would this, and then once I have access to the files down here, I can select a specific file and click import, and we'll get a look at that in just a second. Once I've uploaded the files, they're going to import into here like this, and I actually have to close this. Okay, they're going to import into this space, and iMovie has three working spaces. It has the library where all of my files are stored, and it has this kind of editing window, and then it has this viewing window. So from here, once the files are uploaded, they'll appear here. I can just grab them, drag them, and drop them into this space like this. Okay, and I'll grab one more, drag it, and drop it into this space like that. And so now I've grabbed those two clips, put them down into that space, and then I can scrub the playhead, that's the line, back and forth to see spots, moments in the video. Okay. And then if I want, I could adjust the physical playhead and hit play, and it'll play from that point. Okay. I wouldn't recommend deleting anything from here. Just let the files live here until this whole process is done. If you delete them from here, you're going to have to upload them to your computer again. If you delete them from here and you realize that you didn't want to do that, all you really have to do is drag it again. But if you've deleted it from here, you're going to have to plug your device back in and re-upload it. Now comes the editing. So once you've got a clip the way you want it, we want to be able to select a piece of that clip. And so I think you have 6 and 8 minute chunks that we need to get in on. So we can come in from either side and just kind of zero in from either side on the chunks that we want. So there's time to output that. I will come right up here and hit output, and I'm going to use file. And now here's where we have to make some decisions. So right now, if I left this file where its native resolution that I recorded it in, or close to what I recorded it in, this would be a 10 gig file. And so you have to get under, for Caltpa, the maximum is 500, but they recommend 200 to 300. So I would try to get in that range. Maybe for that 8 minute clip, it's going to be a little harder, and you might need to be a little bit closer to 500. But you can adjust the resolution and the quality to get it under 300. And I would stay as close as I could to 300. The larger file is better, but it definitely needs to be under 500. And then once I'm set there, I just name my video, and I can hit next. It's going to ask me where I want to save that. I'll save it to the desktop, and I can click save. And then that file is going to start to output, and we'll start ticking. And when that file is done outputting, it'll give us a message. And then so if I go back here, okay, so now my phone is selectable. I have a lot on here, so it's taking a while, and that's something you might encounter if you have a ton of stuff on your phone. It might take a while. So you'll notice now they'll pop up here, and then I can select them. And they still haven't loaded the thumbnails because I have quite a bit of video stored on here. So eventually it'll load those pictures into these, and I'll be able to see what they are. But you can just select the ones you want, and then click import, and then that will land your clips in here. Okay. So once you've output your files, that brings us to Caltpa. And in the Caltpa window, you'll get to the spot where you need to add your video clips, part E. And once you get there, all you need to do is click the start button, and it will take you into a screen where you can upload your video. And it looks really similar to uploading a video in an email. You click a file browser, select the file that you've named. So in this instance, mine would be video. Over here, right over here, I would select the one that says video, and then I would upload it, and it would upload into the Caltpa. And once it's in Caltpa, the file will upload, and you'll have a window that looks like this, where you can see the file that you've uploaded. And you'll notice a couple things about this. You'll notice down here, I have this plus add annotation. And this is how we're going to add the annotations to our video. So we will play the video, and we will stop in a location where we want to add the annotation, and we'll find the beginning of that segment, and then we'll pause it, and then we'll hit add annotation, and you will get a screen that looks like this. And so I've paused it here, right where I want it. I've clicked add annotation, and then I'm going to get this dialog box that opens up. Okay, and then there's a couple of things I can do from here. One, I can put the start time and the end time for where I'm suggesting people should watch to look for that moment. I can add my explanation and my summary of the moment that it is, and then from a drop-down menu, you can select the specific title of the annotation to put in. And then once you're done with that, you've successfully added your annotation. So it's actually fairly straightforward once you've got your videos uploaded. And once again, I want to remind you, oops, there we go. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help with anything. Please feel free to send me a text message or shoot me an email. I hope this has been helpful, and have a wonderful day.